Welcome back to the Jeremy Awakens podcast. Today's guest is my boy, Big Thad. And Thad is actually one of my clients. He's become a close friend. And during this episode, we go into Thad's childhood, which is absolutely insane and chaotic. I mean, he started smoking weed at the age of 12. He was selling crack and cocaine at the age of 14. And now, 20 years later, this man is sober. He's successful. He is building a beautiful life here in Miami. And I think his story is so inspiring because we can all learn about how to overcome these different obstacles from earlier in our life and actually transform and create a new reality. So I'm so excited for you to listen to this show. And as always, if you get value from it, tag me on Instagram, leave us a review, let us know that you are enjoying this content. And without further ado, let's get into today's podcast with Big Thad. Thad, by the way, how do I say your last name?
Skudlaric.
How?
Skudlaric.
Skularic.
Yeah.
Skularic. It's really fucking good to have you in here, man. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How we feeling today? You looking swaggy?
Yeah. Feel great, man.
Do you have the grill in right now?
I don't. I left the VVS's at home today.
Come on, dog. Yeah. The podcast wasn't worthy of that?
Not today. I wasn't feeling them today.
I want to start off by really just acknowledging you because we've known each other for like a month, bro.
Yeah.
And I've already seen a huge shift in your energy. The first time I saw you was at Pups and Chill like a month ago, and you came up to me and we just had a conversation. And it's very easy to see someone look the way you do and like have the swag that you have and jump to conclusions and make judgments. And when we had a conversation, bro, I was like, this dude is such a homie. And I could see and feel your heart and your desire to just become a better version of yourself. And I can see just in the first month how much you're starting to open up. And I'm sure the Joe Dispenza stuff helped a lot with that, which we'll talk about. Maybe the fungi have also helped. And I think just really owning your journey and owning your story. And you came to my mushroom ceremony last week, less than a week ago. And I'm curious to know what was the biggest thing that came up for you during that experience?
So, I mean, it was a great experience. And it actually, it wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like what came up for me, that's how crazy it was. I had something totally different on my mind, like what I was trying to get out of it. But I was laying there and I'm going deep on my breaths, trying to really get into it. And something like triggered me to go like just down this hole in my childhood. And I ended up at this place where I was like 7 or 8 years old. And it's a memory that I remembered it like vividly. It was like I was there rewatching it. And my little brother was like playing with his dad in the backyard. They're playing football. And I tried to go play with him. And he's like, hey man, get the fuck out of here. I'm playing with my son. You know? So I was like standing off to the side, sad, like watching them, like thinking in my head, like, damn, why am I not good enough? Why does my dad not ever come play with me? You know? And that was like a lot of feelings I had as a child growing up. And I suppressed them for so long. I didn't think it bothered me. I would have never told anybody that bothered me. Like I have a great relationship with my family now. Like everything's fine. But I guess I suppressed those feelings for so long that I didn't even know that they were still even there, like, or that they even subconsciously bothered me. And so I actually was like hugging myself, telling my childhood self, man, I've always been here. I got you. We're going to be fine. I'm proud of you. I love you, man. And I'm like, I'm hugging myself there. Like, it's crazy. It was the craziest thing. Like, and I kind of like, I told myself I was proud of you, man. Like, we came a long way. And I kind of just went on this journey, like through my life, like watched like a bunch of other things unfold, like, and even went to now, like seeing like the future, like myself that I'm becoming and like where we're going next. And mostly like it was like self-love is what I got out of, like, you know, And
Yeah.
I felt so much better when I came out of that. Like, I think because I'd never really addressed it, it was still there and it was holding me back because I just never really came back to it after so long of suppressing those feelings. I never made peace with it, I guess, even though I thought I did and I thought it didn't bother me, but deep down there was something still there. And, you know, by me being able to hug myself there and tell myself, I'm proud of you and I've always been here and I got you, like, we're going to be fine. I love you. Like, it healed me from that feeling. Like, I've felt so much better since then. I've been, man, every day's a great day. I wake up so happy. Like, even today I was driving down the road and I'm like just smiling, like, man, I'm talking to one of my buddies actually, and I'm telling him about, like, hey, start saying hi to people. You know, like, quit being like that. Quit being so miserable all the time. What are you so mad for?
So
Like,
true, bro.
life is so beautiful, man. It's like every day is a great day for me now. Like, where I'm at in my life and how I wake up every day, I'm just excited every day, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm excited to drop in more. And it's so powerful. Like you were just saying, when you actually just set the intention to actually take the initiative to greet people and literally just say, yo, what's up? How's your day going?
Yeah.
Give them a smile. And it's crazy how that little act of kindness can just create these positive ripples, because everyone is so stuck in their head, bro. So the more that you can be in your heart, the more that I can be in our heart, and the more that we can actually be present and create meaningful connections as masculine leaders, the more positive ripples we're going to create from just doing that and showing up. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, no. I don't have to be a tough guy anymore. Like, I'm not living in survival mode. I lived that life for a long time. I don't want to live that. I'm not that guy anymore. I changed my life. Like, I don't have to be like that.
I'm curious to know, what was your intention coming into that mushroom ceremony?
So I guess it was just to, more or less, I wanted to, like, my purpose, really, like true purpose, like stepping into that. Cause, you know, I've been on this journey, like the spiritual journey that I've been on the past couple months, the Joe Dispenza event and then with you. And I just, you know, I wanted to get more clarity on that, on like what direction to really go now. And it took me down this completely different, you know, hole on self-love.
Yeah.
And really, maybe that's what it is that I need for my next, you know, my next journey.
Well, what I told you was, what I've been telling you is that if we have someone like you speaking about subjects like healing your inner child and cultivating self-love, that is going to make a massive impact, bro. That right there, because people, like I said, they're always going to jump to conclusions when they see you, the way you dress, your tats, whatever. And if you can just show up with that open heart and be a vessel of love and light, that is going to take care of everything.
Yeah.
And you're going to see the type of people that you attract in your field. And I think it's really important to remember that for me, when I think of intention, I just think of, you know, setting intention is all about gaining clarity on your desires and not being attached to those desires. Because you can set all of the intentions before a mushroom journey or before an ayahuasca experience, and the medicine just gives you something else. So it's cultivating clarity with what you desire to call into your life, and also not being overly attached to that.
Right.
Because when we're so attached to certain expectations and outcomes, and those things don't happen, we get super disappointed. Even though whatever came through for you during that ceremony was actually a massive blessing, and it gave you everything that you needed. And I think it's really important, because sometimes we think like, oh, I know exactly what I want.
Right.
You know? And that's not always true. God always has a bigger plan for us, bro. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah. No, it's being okay with the unknown. And that's like a lot of part of this journey that I've been learning too, is like being able to step into the unknown and just being okay with that.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm like trying to become the best version of myself every day, and I'm living in alignment, doing the things I'm supposed to do, doing my meditations and always showing up as the best version of myself, everything will be okay anyways. Yeah. My life's going to be exactly the way I want it to be, you know? And I know that now every day. That's why I wake up every day so happy, because it's like I'm I have to pinch myself sometimes when I think about it, man, my life and like
Yeah.
everything that's unfolded and like
It's just getting started.
surreal
Too.
for me. It really is. Like,
You're only 33, bro.
yeah.
Literally just getting started. And I think it's also really important just to come back to that 7-year-old version of yourself, because every single person watching or listening to this podcast right now has some trauma or emotional wound from their childhood. And that trauma and emotional wound is going to continue showing up in different ways as an adult until we actually take ownership of our healing journey and we do the inner work. And it's crazy because we see most grown-ups, dude, are just children with adult masks on. And they're walking around with all of these traumas and insecurities and numbing themselves from actually fully feeling those certain emotions that might be painful, that might bring up some darkness. But ultimately, that's where all the magic is.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, you're 7 years old. Your dad basically says, fuck off, I'm playing with my son.
Yeah.
Which is just such a ridiculous thing to say, by the way. Right? But
Right.
but now
I was a horrible kid. I don't blame him at all. Like, I was so bad as a kid, and it's because probably I think I was so bad because I was trying to get the attention that I wasn't really getting, because I was just kind of always there. Nobody ever cared about where I was at. Like when I was 10 years old, I was coming home at midnight. At 11, I went to jail the first time. I was in alternative school already. 11, 12, I was smoking weed. By the time I was 15, I was out of school, living in the projects, full-blown drug dealer, living life like completely reckless. But I think I was always just trying to get that attention because I wasn't really getting it,
Yeah, of course. And that's what most children are craving.
Right.
We're craving love. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want to know that there's someone that actually cares about us. And if you lack that as a child, you're always going to look to different places to fill that void. And oftentimes it's the wrong places.
Yeah.
And we're in this constant cycle of chasing external validation, whether it's from drugs, whether it's from the wrong group of people, whether it's from women, whether it's from alcohol, whether it's money and material shit. It's always going to manifest in different ugly ways. So you're craving that love, you're craving that attention as a young child. How did you first get introduced to drugs at such a young age?
So I in my house growing up, it was always around. Like the house I grew up in with my mom and my stepdad, it was a party house. Like every night was a party house. Everybody was always fucked up, drinking, drugs. It was normal. Like we would come home, find somebody OD, and my mom would, me and my little brother come home from school, elementary school, and maybe my mom would be like ODing or something, or somebody else that was there. Like it was always around, and I hated it, man. I hated drugs. I hated alcohol. Like I would lose my mind, like on my mom for drinking. Like I can't believe you're drinking. Like, and it turned into me like having a massive problem with drinking. Like I hated it for so long, and I was like, I'm never gonna do that shit. Like. And then by 15, I was drinking every day of my life. I was drinking.
Yeah, what were you drinking?
E&J used to drink. And I was always a bigger kid, so I could buy a bottle at like 15 from the liquor store.
So you're just getting fucked up every day as a 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah, when I dropped out of high school, I was drinking every single day from that point. And then I was taking ecstasy too, like because I was selling a lot of ecstasy. I was selling everything, crack, coke, whatever at that age, man. At 15.
And how old were you at 15?
Yeah.
15, selling drugs. This is in Ocala, Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think at like 14 was the first time my mom found a gun in my room. And I was living reckless at a very early age. But I always hung out with people that were 10, 12 years older than me. All my friends were like 25, and I'm 15, 16. I'm going to the club every night. I'm skipping school when I still was in school, to be on the block 'cause I'm trying to make money. I'm like, I'm not going to school. I'm selling drugs. Fuck this. This is my career. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Like, this is what I want to be. And I would get put in the back of the police car because they would come and like ask me how old I am. I'm supposed to be at school. I'm like, my mom knows I'm out here. Like, call my mom. And she'd be like, yeah, let him out. I know he's there. So I would just get right back out, right back to it. Like, because I was always just, I was allowed to do whatever I wanted, whenever I want, my whole life. You know, it was kind of, like I said, I was kind of just there, I felt like.
Yeah.
So it led me to this other journey of like being in the streets. And like, that was kind of like where I started to feel like I belonged and like that people loved me. And like, you know, I started hanging out with the guy that was like selling my mom drugs. That's how I first really started to get into it. And he had like, you know, the golds and the chain and stuff. And I'm like, man, I want to be like, just like him. Like, you know, he's showing up, he's got the nice car. So I started hanging around with him. And I was just off to the races there. You know, it led to me going to jail. Like I said, the first time I went to jail I was like 11. Then I went to jail twice when I was 18 for drug and gun charges. I was 21. I get shot 3 times. You know, still didn't learn my lesson then. I still was doing different things. I would take little breaks in between, like think I'm going to change my life. And like, I'd go get a job in sales, selling cars. I'd run it up, do a great job. And I'd be like, fuck this. I want to go back to selling drugs. Like, because I knew too many people and it was too easy for me. And I was too good at it. I was like, man, this is way too easy I don't want to sit here at this stupid job. Like, this isn't where I belong. Like, I belong out there.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was 12 years ago, pretty much, that you got shot 3 times and you were basically dead.
I died, on the way to the hospital. It a few times. Actually, a helicopter landed in the middle of the road. They shot me outside of a nightclub. And I got shot once in my main artery, the pulmonary artery, and twice in the knee. So I bled out. I was bleeding out. And I was like going into shock, going in and out.
Bro, sorry to interrupt you. This is a weird question, but how does it feel to get shot?
I didn't really, I was in shock, man. I hopped around after I got shot. And I remember the blood was like squirting out of my leg like a water hose. And I like looked down and all this blood's like shooting out of my leg. And I'm trying to get to my car, like fall on my car, and then I just collapse on the ground. And like all these people are around me. There were so many people and I was fucked up too. Like I had been partying all night. Then like a helicopter landed in the middle of the road. Everybody thought I was dead. I woke up, like I was in the hospital for weeks, but when I finally got my phone and checked my Facebook, I had all these RIP messages on my Facebook because there was like 500 people out there that saw this and they all thought I was dead because I was dying out there. They actually told my mom when they called and told her like, hey, he's not going to make it. So just have somebody drive you up here to the hospital. And they almost had to like amputate my leg. I had nerve damage. They told me I wouldn't be able to walk again, like without this like stupid boot thing. But I just never accepted that. Like I was like, I'm not wearing that boot and I'll be able to walk in. It's fine. So like all these little trials and tribulations and things, like I always knew like, nah, like whenever somebody would tell me something, I would do the opposite. And I would like, no, I know I can do this. Like, I'm not going to let them tell me. And so it would lead to me like, anytime I wanted to do something or be something different, like I would just recreate myself. And I knew I could do that. Once I started like figuring that out, I'm like, man, anything I put my mind to, like, I know I can do because I've already overcame all these other things in my life.
It's crazy how many obstacles you've overcome.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how many lives that you've been given, bro, which is why I really think that you were put here for a very specific reason and purpose. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because there's certain things that you've experienced that I'll never experience. Yeah. There's certain messages you can put out in the world that'll hit and resonate with different people because you've actually lived that life. I'm a white dude from the burbs. I had 2 amazing parents who are still together today. You know, I went to a private school up until 5th grade. Like, relatively speaking, I've had a pretty easy life, you know? So it's so interesting just hearing all of that shit. And like, I'm just here imagining you outside this club and literally just blood fucking squirting from your leg.
Yeah.
And how much of a traumatic scene that would have been, but it was just kind of normal.
Yeah, my mom told me, like, when I came out of it, she's like, she woke up, I guess, before they called her, and she said, I got the phone call. I always knew I was going to get about you. She's like, I was expecting to get this call for a long time, like that somebody shot you, killed you, because I was just living so recklessly for so long.
Do your parents take accountability now for the way that they showed up as parents or didn't show up as parents?
I mean, man, my mom, you know, she had I'm sure a really tough, you know, childhood and everything as well. Everybody, and she struggled with addiction. Right now she's got, you know, I think like 30 or 60 days clean working on, but I don't fault them for that. And my mom's like, she will. It's a tough conversation. Like I don't ever try to have that conversation with her just because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, for her, and I don't want to blame her for it. I know she did the best she could. You know.
Can you actually do me a favor? Can you grab me another glass like this? Just because something just came up for me. And you're the leader of the lineage. I feel like that's what's really dope about the position that we're both in right now is you had a choice. You could either just continue the cycle, right? Passing these traumas and different things down to your future kids, or you could actually be like, no, fuck that. I'm actually going to shift my reality and create a brighter future for myself because I want to be the leader of my lineage and rewrite the narrative.
Yeah.
Right? And dude, I'm proud of you for just like stepping into it. And that's why I said, I mean, are you completely sober now, by the way, Thad?
Yeah. I
When
quit
it comes
drinking
to
like,
alcohol, drugs.
yeah, it's probably been like almost 2 years maybe now. I had a real problem with like pain pills and stuff, like perks and like lower tabs.
What are lower tabs?
It's like a hydrocodone. It's like
lean type of shit.
yeah. It's a pain pill. They gave me like a prescription because when I got shot, and I just took them forever because of that. Like I would take, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 a day for like 10 years probably.
And by the way, this is just a further demonstration of how broken our healthcare system is in America, right? You get shot, you're going through a lot of pain. Okay, we're going to give you some pain medication. I guess that makes sense for a short period of time, but these pain pills are so addicting. And people oftentimes, like there's so many former athletes who have had really bad injuries. They get put on these opioids and different pain medications, and bro, they can't get off of them. And their whole life spirals downhill. All because they were given these things and they weren't properly advised on how to actually heal naturally. And that's the work that we're doing now, is becoming our own healer, our own health coach, our own doctor, because we damn sure can't count on pharmaceutical companies or doctors to have our best interests in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
So the reason I wanted this other glass is because, like, just as a visual, I think it's so clear, like, right? Let's just say this is your great grandpa. Where's your lineage from, by the way? Do you know?
I'm Polish and German.
Yeah, I got Polish vibes from you. Have you been to Poland?
No.
Dude, Poland's pretty nice.
No, I want to go for sure.
Like Warsaw and Krakow. My friend who was on last night, actually, she's Polish. She's living there now. So it's like, all right, great grandpa, alcoholic, trauma, emotional wounds, doesn't do anything to address it, just passes it right down to their children. All right. This is your grandparents. Same shit. Addiction, alcohol, anger, right? Same thing, passing it to your parents. And your parents don't know any better. So what do? They repeat the same exact patterns.
Yeah.
And then they pass that shit to you. Now, it's our responsibility, right? Pretending like this is our future children, we have the choice to actually remove all of this. Remove the trauma, heal ourselves, rather than just continuing this vicious cycle. And that's the work that we're doing, bro, is being the leaders of our lineage. And you're fucking embodying that shit, bro. It's inspiring. That's why that's why I wanted to really get you on here to share your story.
Yeah, no, definitely. And a lot of times, there's people, you're always out here looking for all these answers, right? On why you feel like that. But they're all within you. Like once you start going within and like really sitting with yourself, all the answers come to you. And like, that's really what I've been learning on this journey now. And like, really, I love sitting with myself now. Before, I couldn't sit down for like 10 minutes with myself until I was able to really start tapping in. Now, like when my meditation is up, if I'm doing like a guided one, it's only like an hour and I'm like really into it. I'm like, I don't want it to end. Like I'll sit there.
Yeah.
Like
it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, most people hate being just with themselves, with no distractions, no podcast, no music. And when you actually start to cultivate a relationship with yourself and you start to enjoy actually spending time with yourself, to reflect, to visualize, to create clarity with the things that you actually desire in this life, that's a great spot to be in, because every single relationship in your life is a reflection of the relationship with yourself. And most people, including myself for a lot of years, did not like myself. So I was always looking for external things to numb and distract me. And then once you actually do that inner work and you create that sense of inner peace, that's when things get really fun and interesting, right?
No, yeah. And you really just, you live in like flow state, like you're able to just create, and it's unreal. Like I said, it's surreal. Like I'll say things now, like I've been big on manifesting and law of attraction, gratitude. I've had a gratitude journal for a few years, and I've like passed them out over the years to people that were interested in it, and vision boards and like, but now like being at that high frequency state, like I'm time collapsing things like that I'm manifesting. Like it's crazy how fast things come to, fruition for me. I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, it's like,
give me an example.
Like I'll say, like, even when I was leaving the Joe Dispenza event, right? I got on the airplane and I had just told the people there, I was like, man, I want to do these like walking meditations in the morning somewhere on the beach in Miami. Like it'd be cool to like find like a little group or something. Well, as soon as I get on there, Lay's like, we're landing. I'd meditated on the way home, and like I came out of it. She's like, oh, you're at the event? I'm like, yeah. She was there too. She's like, you should join this group that does walking meditations on the beach. I'm like, I just said that, right? And but it happens for me. Like there's so many examples with everything in my life. Like I'll have to be careful what I say now, because it manifests so fast for me.
We're always manifesting that way.
No, every thought, everything you say, like it's a frequency. It puts it out there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so like conscious now of my thoughts and like what I say. You have to be, though. You really do, because
I think especially with like the self-help and personal development space, most people just assume manifestation is all positive. But literally, we're manifesting every second of every day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are having those repeating thought patterns that are self-inflicting, and you're constantly speaking things in a way that is not constructive, that's actually destructive towards your growth and towards your health, you are actually creating that reality in the material world through all of your words, through your thoughts, through your actions. And I think the worst vibration to be operating from in regards to manifestation is just being in a state of victimhood.
Yeah.
And that is very common, just people constantly complaining about shit, right? Rather than actually being the author of their own life.
Right.
You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, because I tell people all the time, like, listen, I started really like changing my life with the movie The Secret. That's what like got me into like law of attraction. And it was, I was fed up with like, I came to a point where these guys came out, me and my boy had like a trap house that we were living in. And these guys came there to rob us, like a home invasion. We ended up getting into a shootout with them, because after I'd already been shot too. So I'm like, man, like cops are there every day. Like they're doing investigations. Like we're hiding from them. Like it's this whole thing. And I'm like, man, I'm going to get shot again, or like I'm going to go to prison. Like I'm like, man, something's gotta change. Like I gotta start trying to do something different. And I just had like this moment where I wanted to do something different. And I knew I was good at sales, so I had done it here and there, you know, the car business. And I got back into like selling cars, and I started watching The Secret every night going to bed, right? And I knew that like the finance managers made more money in the car dealership. They were making like probably 10, 20 grand a month. So I'm like, I want to be a finance manager. Like, that's what I'm going to do. So I would wake up every day and like say on my way to work, like, thank you for my job as a finance manager. And within 2 months, I became a finance manager. And like, I was just like getting into shootouts, selling drugs. And I manifested that. And I'm like, wow, this works. Like,
Yeah.
this is real. And I just like kept going with it. Like from there, like all the way to making like 50 grand a month with it consistently for a long time. And here I am, a guy that dropped out of high school, been shot all these times. And then I was like a finance director over a company, you know, over a bunch of locations, building sales teams and stuff. And for me to do that, I'm like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because all I was a fuck up my whole life. Like
Facts, bro. Facts. I think it's also just bringing it back to like manifestation and vibration, so people have a very tangible idea. You know, it's really interesting when you look back at the last 4 years during COVID, right? And the people that were operating from a state of fear are the people that got the most sick from COVID. The people that were operating from the most fear of getting COVID were actually the people that were getting double boosted. They were wearing the mask. They were doing all the right things according to the science. But those same people were the people that were manifesting disease and inflammation because they were operating from this low vibration of fear. And I don't think most people are aware of that.
Yeah.
Right? Like by simply elevating your vibration and transmuting some of these other things in the field, whether it's guilt, shame, fear, anger, and you're able to elevate that, that's literally going to heal you on a cellular level. And you learn that stuff in like Joe Dispenza workshops.
Yeah, the Joe Dispenza, I mean, you heal your body, like practicing the breath work and go within and being positive, like you literally will attract good and bad. Doesn't matter. Like if you say you're sick, if the doctor tells you, okay, you're sick, you have cancer, you're going to die. Like you could die just from yourself, not from the cancer, because you're accepting it. And now you're like, okay, I'm going to die.
Right.
So now you're going to attract that and you will die. Or if you have a positive mindset and you're like, no, I'm going to beat it, then yeah, you'll beat it. You know, the same thing. My mom had stage 4 cancer and she was really positive about the whole thing. Like they told her she had 2 months to live. And I remember she came and she told us, she's like, no, I'm going to beat it. And she beat it. Like,
It's like, crazy. The power of self-belief is real. The placebo effect is real.
Yeah.
And I tell people this regarding microdosing as well, right? Because yes, microdosing is going to help you create neuroplasticity. You're going to be literally creating new connections in the brain. It decreases blood flow to the amygdala. So you're going to be operating less from fear and more from a place of peace and presence. And if you believe that the medicine is going to support you, it is going to support you more. But there's also the people that they're like, they just don't think anything's going to work.
right.
Right. And they're in that space as well. And if you're operating from that space, you're probably right either way. Like 100%. If you think this shit's going to work, it probably will work more effectively. And if you don't think it's going to work, and that's how you approach your life, like this relationship, it's not going to work.
Right.
Even right when it's getting started, of course it's not going to work because you're going in with the expectation that it's going to fail. You know? So I think for me, man, during the Joe Dispenza meditation, like I never had a consistent practice where I was grounded for an hour each day, meditating in silence. And that Joe Dispenza retreat where you're basically meditating for 6 hours a day.
Man, I was in there for like 15 hours in that room. Like I had never, and like I would turn my phone off because it tells you to turn your phone off. I've never been that present for anything in my whole life. And I went by myself. Like, this was just some journey I ended up going on. I'm like, and I don't know really how it all unfolded. Like, I'm always like trying to become the best version of myself. And I was like, man, I know meditating like will help me. Like, I just couldn't get into it. So I'm like, man, maybe if I go to this Joe Dispenza event for 7 days, like, I got to get it then. Like, I know I'll be able to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And man, it was a great experience. So that was life-changing for me as well. Like, once I really started to be able to sit there and work my energy up in that cerebral spinal fluid and like get that to like hit the pineal gland and raise my vibration, man. And I remember like the first time I did it, and I like went back and I could like feel my hands and my arms, but they didn't feel like mine. I was like coming out of my body.
Yeah.
And then I was just in this crazy deep meditative state. Like, I was like going so deep on these meditations, like for hours. And like we did a 5-hour one.
That pineal gland meditation, bro, that was wild. You know what's also crazy is at these Joe Dispenza meditations, there's 2,500 people.
Yeah.
98% of the people are present and on time for every single meditation. And they all start at 6 a.m. And then that pineal gland meditation started at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And that was literally 5.5 or 6 hours. And it was almost like a plant medicine journey.
Yeah.
And I actually took a small dose of mushrooms for that, like one gram, and then like the
I could
kaleidoscope
see that,
shit.
yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people did, honestly.
I don't think so.
No?
He's Joe Dispenza is very like, they're very clear with no drugs.
Yeah, no,
And
I know he says that.
Even though mushrooms,
But
as
I'm
you
sure,
know.
because there was people there talking about like ayahuasca journeys and stuff. Like, I had never even knew about that till then. Like, that was when I started even looking into that. And that's how I even started looking into the microdosing, because people were talking about it at this event.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, if it's going to help me, like, if it's going to be a tool for me to go deeper and become a better version of myself, then yeah. So I started looking into it. That's what even sparked my interest on it.
Yeah. It's crazy too, just you mentioning one of the best things also about that experience, and also just even doing a podcast, right? For an hour and a half, we're fully present.
Yeah.
Our phones are on airplane mode. We don't even know where they're at. And we're just fully present with one another. How often do we actually do that in our day-to-day life, where for 90 minutes, we're completely disconnected and we're completely present? And that's why I love
Not
this
often,
shit,
most
bro.
people.
Yeah, like that's why I love this shit. And most people's biggest fear, including my own for a while, was just like being with myself. Because when you sit with yourself with zero distractions, the shit that you really need to hear gets very loud.
Yeah.
Whether it's the trauma that you've been sweeping under the rug, whether it's your anger issues, whether it's that relationship, whatever it is, bro, that shit comes to the surface and you're forced to sit with it. But when you sit with it, that's when you can actually feel fully the emotions that are coming up. And when you allow yourself to feel, you allow yourself to actually heal and move forward and create a brighter future.
Yeah.
It
You get
requires
feeling of
that
wholeness.
time.
Like, that's how you get it.
I'm curious to know, bro, you're such like people might look at you and again, they're going to jump to conclusions about how you are. And you're like the most soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
You're just like such a soft-spoken guy. Have you always been that way, or were you more loud, more rambunctious, did you have like more anger? I feel like you're just in a very low-key, peaceful state. And I'm wondering like how long that's
Like
been
me,
what you
when
embody.
I was on drugs and alcohol, like partying in the club, living that life, I would get to the club and they would tell me, they knew like the security, everybody, like, Thad, keep your shirt on tonight. As soon as I go in there, shirt's off. I'm fighting in the club every night. Like,
Really?
complete
You're just like
wild,
searching
man.
for fights?
Oh yeah, we would be fighting people every night. Like, not every night, but like once a week at least. I mean, we're going to the club every night. But I would be a completely different person, like on the drugs and alcohol. Like, completely. When I was living that life, I was always like on another level. 1,000, going 1,000 miles an hour. Like, now, I mean, that's the difference between living in survival mode.
Yeah. It's crazy too, because I think I shared this with you, but even just like the last 3 months for me since September, since I've been back in Miami from traveling. And I remember it was like it was actually my birthday, September 10th. And I was just, I just committed on September 10th, my birthday this past year. I was like, I'm going to start my day off sunrise at the beach and just journal. And bro, I just started crying because I realized how many things I had suppressed from the previous year. So many things that happened, frustrating things in business, personal life, relationships, etc., that I never allowed myself to fully process. And the way that manifested over the course of 12 months was just being in fight or flight, being in survival mode, being super reactive, not being my normal joyful self as often. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time where I fully allowed myself to just feel everything, bro. And ultimately that cleared so much space. That cleared so much space for actually calling in and bringing in and attracting the energy and the emotions that I really want to embody. My childlike joy, my curiosity, my passion, connecting in a deeper way to my purpose. And the last 3 months have just been a manifestation of that, and I think it's really, I just think it's really important for people like me, and especially someone like you, to talk about the importance of feeling your feelings fully.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like when you're meeting people these days, these last few months, are they kind of surprised when they start talking to you? Like,
listen, I have people that have known me for a long time that, like, somebody told me last night, actually, they're like, bro, like, you were having a conversation with John, and he's like, man, I guess I didn't have many conversations with Dad, but like, wow, man, like, it was such like a deep, meaningful conversation. The guy is like, he's like, yeah, man, that's completely changed. Like, so people are noticing, like, man, everybody notices. I'm like, really? I'm like, I guess I don't like see it that much because I'm living in it. Like, how big of a difference it's already been for me. Like, I know, like, I feel it, but like, I didn't know, like, on the outside looking in, everybody could see it as much as well. But
isn't that a good feeling though?
Yeah, no, I was like, all right, I like that.
Bro, that's the goal. That's the goal. I think someone I was talking to a couple of weeks ago, she asked me, so what's your 5-year plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, that's such an interesting question, because I really, in the past, I used to believe in like long-term goal setting. 5 years, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to have this much money. I'm going to be creating this much impact in the world. 10 years, I'm going to be here. And I realized, bro, the way that my life has been flowing, there's so many unexpected things constantly happening. And every single day I'm evolving and becoming a new version of myself. 3 months, 6 months down the road, I'm going to be completely unrecognizable. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to be the same Jeremy, but I'm going to be more expansive. I'm going to be more open to new possibilities. So it's so hard for me to answer questions like, hey, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
Because the truth is, another part of my journey the last year has been trusting God more and surrendering some of my intentions to him. Like, I have my dreams, my goals, my desires, but at the end of the day, no one knows my potential like God does.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, I'm surrendering to that energy and trusting that 5 years, 10 years, I'm going to be exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. And that's like a lot of things people say, like, when you pray, you're talking to God. When you meditate, God's talking to you. And you're tapping into the light, like becoming one with the Creator. Like, that's how you get the downloads from God. Like, God's talking to you in your meditation. And that really like stuck with me when I heard somebody say that. Like, wow. And then once I started going deep in the meditations and I was really starting to get things from him, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. God is talking to me. Like,
wow. I love that. Can you say that one more time?
When you pray, you're talking to God. And when you meditate, it's God talking to you.
All right, I hate to interrupt this epic conversation, but if you are enjoying this podcast right now, it would mean the absolute world if you could leave a review wherever you happen to be listening, whether that is YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Honestly, word of mouth is my oxygen, and we want this message to go out to as many people as possible as we raise the collective vibration of humanity. So please take 8 or 9 seconds to just leave 5 stars, say some nice words, and now let's get back to the show. That's dope, bro. That's dope.
Because you get downloads on a deep meditation. Like
it's always when we create the space,
yeah,
with ourselves that the most divine downloads come to the surface. That's why most people have great ideas when they're taking a shower. Why is that? It's because you're actually present. Unless you're bringing your phone to the shower, you're just present with the hot water. Unless you're taking a cold shower, those are cool too. But you're present with the hot water and you're just in a more theta brainwave state. So you're more receptive to receiving downloads and new ideas. But again, the issue today is that we're so fucking attached to our device. And we don't give ourselves the space to actually receive those divine downloads from the divine.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens, bro.
That's
like
it.
Literally 5, 10, 15 minutes in a shower out in nature. Chances are you'll come up with at least one new insight, one new idea. We just need to create that space.
Yeah. No, I couldn't remember what I liked to do as a child. Like I remember you were telling me like to connect with my inner child, like do something fun. What did I like to do for fun? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Like
I'd like to sell drugs.
Yeah, I wanted to be a drug dealer. Like that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. So I even asked my mom, and she's like, I don't know. You grew up fast. I don't know what you like to do for fun as a kid. And then, like during a meditation, I got that I like to play basketball as a kid, and I remembered I'm like, oh shit, I did like playing basketball because I was like on these leagues when I was like super young, and I used to love doing that. And man, I forgot how much I used to enjoy playing basketball. So that's what I've been doing a few days a week.
Do they have a court at your gym?
Yeah, they do.
Or they have a court at your building?
No, at the gym.
Okay. Which gym again?
Boxer.
Boxer.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
we
dope,
need a
yeah.
hoop.
Yeah.
Let's go to Flamingo Park like next week.
Yeah, no, I'm down for sure.
Fuck yeah. That and the reason I always ask that question, bro, is because I feel like when we connect to our inner child, that 7 or 8-year-old version of ourselves, we actually connect to our divinity. We connect to our soul in such a deep way because when you were a child, you had this presence and innocence and curiosity that was so beautiful. And oftentimes we lose it as an adult. So if you can ask yourself the question like, yo, what did the 7-year-old Jeremy love to do? Dude, I used to love doing Jim Carrey impersonations. I used to love playing basketball. I used to love just doing goofy shit with my friends. So how can I actually replicate some of those things as an adult, make my inner child smile, and activate that part of my soul that might have been asleep? And I think like I see it all the time, you know, especially with women that I talk to that are in the membership. It's like a lot of times I remember very clearly, like last month, this woman came up to me, or I was talking to her on the phone, and she's like, you know, I'm doing all of the things you're saying. I have my morning routine dialed in. You know, I removed these inflammatory foods. I'm getting better sleep, but I feel like there's still something missing. And I just asked her the question. I was like, what's one thing you used to love to do as a little girl that you no longer do as an adult? And right away, she's like, I used to love to sing. And I was like, when's the last time you sang? She's like, college, like 12 years ago. And I'm like, all right, here's your homework.
Yeah.
Literally every day for the next week, you're just going to sing for 5 minutes. I don't care if it's in the shower. I don't care if it's in the car. This is for nobody else but you and that little girl. And after 8 or 9 days of doing that in a row, we had another conversation and she was a completely different version of herself. I could hear her joy when she was speaking. And that is the importance of activating your inner child.
100%.
Right there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Because, I mean, I've had all the things, like made the money, had the stuff, like, and I always felt like something was missing, you know? And during this spiritual journey, like connecting like with my inner child and like loving myself, like now I feel full and like whole. Like,
I'm curious to know if you look at your material things differently now, right?
yeah, no, that was a big thing for me when I like I started like diving deep. I'm like, those things really aren't like at the top of my priorities anymore. Even though money like is great, right? We need it, but it's more of a tool, you know.
Facts.
Instead of just like chasing just the money. Like I started having like these thoughts, like, man, okay, I got all, you know, money and nice and cool shit. Like what the fuck? I'm just gonna be by myself, like isolating myself, and then when I'm like 60, it's still just gonna be me with my cool shit. Like,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, bro. There's nothing wrong with liking nice things.
Yeah.
Like whether it's the Louis shoes, whether it's like the watch, the glasses, the chains, the dope whips. There's nothing inherently wrong with any of that. In fact, it's beautiful if you actually genuinely like enjoy those things and they bring you happiness in some capacity.
sure.
But oftentimes they're coming from a place of chasing external validation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was talking to BB last night on the podcast and we were talking about like breast implants and lip injections. These things that have become so common for women to get, especially living in a city like Miami. In fact, it's almost rare to find a girl that doesn't have implants and or lip injections. It's like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But men on the other side of the spectrum do the same shit with chasing material things,
Sure.
right? Whether it's the chains, the cars, the watches, whatever.
Yeah.
And again, there's nothing inherently wrong with any of these things. It just goes back to your intention. Is this to actually deepen the connection with yourself? Is it to like gift yourself something and celebrate a success in business by like getting a dope watch? Amazing, right. Cool. Or is it from a place of like, yo, I'm trying to impress that girl or I'm trying to impress that dude? Is it coming from a place of insecurity or is it coming from a place of like, yo, I just want to make the most of this life and this is actually going to add to that human experience?
Yeah. No, it's about more for me. Like I've been spending more time with my family. Like my dad, I just talked to him actually before I came over here, and I was up there like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sitting there with him, teaching him breath work on like how to meditate. Mm-hmm. And I did the same thing like with my mom. I've been like trying to teach her like, and I've been talking to my little brother about it, my older brother, like. So it's more important for me like having those relationships and like being around people that I love and I care about and knowing that I'm like able to take care of them more and really help them become the best version of themselves. And also I'm like open to the possibilities of like not just being alone forever anymore. Cause like I was married before and you know, after that I always said like, I'm never going to be married again. I'm done. I'll just be single. I'll be a bachelor for the rest of my life. Like
you'll be a thaddy for the rest of your life.
Now I'm like open to the possibilities of like marriage and kids. Like before I was totally against it. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Bro, I can't wait for daddy thaddy era.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, bro. And by the way, I'm just putting this out there. You know, if you just like get to a point where you're, you know, thinking, dude, these material things are just so worthless, bro. If you ever get to that point, that I want to let you know, bro, that I'm always going to be here as a friend to hold space. Like this wrist, like it would welcome a rollie. I'm just putting it out there, bro. I'm just saying I'm open to the possibility of receiving a gift or donation because at the end of the day, bro, you know, it's nice to share things with our loved ones.
Yeah.
You know?
And as long as you put it out there in the field, you know, the possibilities are endless, right?
I literally just, bro, I put it out there. I think I'm going to get a rollie in 2025. I think I'm going to do it.
I think, yeah.
You have any recommendations? Should let's actually transition, right? I want to transition because since we're talking about wealth and material shit. I want to talk about 2 weeks ago, we go to the Valuetainment event together, election night, fucking Trump, bro.
Yeah.
You're tracking. I remember you were literally tracking the Bitcoin price
Yeah.
as they were announcing each state.
I knew it, right.
And I guess my biggest mistake was not doing the same and like dollar cost averaging, like during the debate, or sorry, during the election. How much, I mean, how much of a shift have you seen these last 2 weeks? Obviously, Bitcoin's hit pretty much 100K.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love for you to talk about kind of your journey actually starting with crypto and then where you see that going in the next 4 years.
So I got in crypto during the last bull run. Somebody at the dealership I was working at was big into it, and I was like, yeah, like this is a real thing. He's like, yeah, man, this is like the future. So I like started investing a little bit, and the next thing you know, I was hooked. Like anything I do, I like go all in, right? So the next thing I know, I'm doing like hours of research every day, and I'm investing all this money, and then I ran it up on the bull run, you know, and I didn't take all the profit I should have, and I watched it come all the way back down. And I just been dollar cost averaging investing over these past like 3-4 years now. And I'm super bullish on Trump being president. Obviously, everybody is now waking up to what crypto is. And I just think that we've never seen an environment like this where crypto can thrive. Like, it's the possibilities are endless for where it's going to go. I mean, initially I was thinking like 120 to 140K Bitcoin during the bull run, but it could go much higher because who knows? Because we're in uncharted territory right now with Trump in office. He's building a crypto friendly, you know, team. Everybody's pro crypto.
Yeah.
So I think we're in great times, and I'm loving it. It's been extremely beneficial for me.
Yeah.
And my portfolio looks great.
Yeah. There's a couple interesting things to think about, right? No one seems to be talking about the fact that Joe Biden is still the current president of the United States, which is crazy to even think about because we know he's not actually running anything.
No.
So we have a few more weeks of that, but it's crazy to see less than a month of Trump being announced as the next president, the impact, the ripples that it's making, bro. Crypto, I mean, Bitcoin hits 100K. We have the first city in Florida that voted to remove fluoride from the water supply, right? We have all of the big pharmaceutical companies stocks, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, plummeting as they're going to be more and more exposed for all of their corrupt lies the last 4 years. Like, this is in the first few weeks of Trump winning the election. Imagine when January comes and his inauguration, like the momentum's going to be insane, bro. I think these next 4 years are going to be 4 of the best years to be an American. Mm-hmm. And I'm just excited for the bright future.
Yeah. And he's like, Gary Gensler actually announced that he's stepping down from the SEC. That's another major move for crypto because he's been totally against it. So that's extremely bullish as well. And he just announced that he's stepping down on the 20th. So that's been another bullish case for crypto. Just Trump all the way around, like, is bullish for crypto. It's bullish for everything. I'm bullish on life, period. I mean,
hey, fuck yeah. I'm bullish on life. Dude, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you like a guy that's probably just going to keep holding?
No, I definitely have take profit zones. So,
okay.
Because I've rode up the last bull run, like, and I ran up a bag. I took some profit, but nowhere near enough. So everybody was saying 100K Bitcoin during the last bull run,
and now it's here.
Yeah, it's here. But so you never know. I mean, you should always set like take profit zones. I believe like whenever you're investing in something, you should always make sure you pay yourself because it's not real until you take profits.
Dude, it's pretty cool. You know, I always tell people, like, I think one of the biggest things that holds people back is the fact that we oftentimes stay confined in these boxes, right? Like, all right, I'm the fucking drug dealer, or I'm the athlete, or I'm the model, or I'm the entrepreneur. And we stay very confined to these boxes. But the bottom line is we're all very multidimensional beings. And when I look at you, there's no one that epitomizes being multidimensional more than you, right? It's like with the past that you've had, it's the knowledge in crypto, the car salesman, the fitness, the meditation, the work with mushrooms and Joe Dispenza. Bro, you are a multidimensional being. And that is inspiring, I think, for other people listening and watching to understand, yo, don't let anyone put you in a box.
Yeah, no.
Keep exploring and expanding the possibilities. Like, explore what else is out there for you. If you're curious about something, do some research on it. Like, don't let anyone keep you playing small, because at the end of the day, when we get too attached to our identities or whatever the shit is, like talking about like material things again, when we get too attached to that shit, and I see this all the time actually with my attractive female friends, so much of their validation throughout their life has come from being attractive. So much of the stuff on social media is them being attractive, right? Showcasing their highlight reel. Yeah. So when it comes to actually like speaking their truth or sharing something of meaning, there's this hesitation, right? Because they don't want to leave this box that they've been put in. But at the end of the day, bro, if you're attaching all of your self-worth to your physical body, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And it's the same shit with anything.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see like all of these dimensions that you're tapping into.
Yeah, I just want to be the best version of myself in every area of life. Like, that's however that looks for me, you know? So I'm always exploring these, you know, if it's going to make me a better person and make me become better, like I'm in. Like, I'll try it. I'm going to look into it and see if it works and what I get from it, if it's beneficial. I'm always believing in recreating yourself. Like, you can be whatever you want to be. What do you think, what do you see the next 6 or 12 months looking like for you in that recreation process? Like what new possibilities are you looking to enter and step into? Does anything come to mind? No, I mean, for me, I feel like it's just being in this flow state that I'm in now, like, and just seeing where I can like continue to like my meditations and look, obviously I'm big in crypto. So I know like these next 6-12 months are going to be big for that, and helping others, man. Really, I want to start like being able to tap in, help more people with like meditation. Honestly, I think I'm going to step into like doing some of that, because that was something I struggled with for so long, like not being able to know how to do it. And I feel like so many other people don't meditate because they don't get anything out of it. They can't figure out how to do it. And a lot of people don't have a week to go sit at a Joe Dispenza event. Like, a lot of people can't take 7 days and go sit in this room for 15 hours a day and practice it to get it. So, you know, I think it'll be extremely beneficial, and I'll be able to impact a lot of people like that can tap in and really learn to sit with themselves.
I love that for you. Yeah, that's dope. I still am like, so I'm in love with this, with the thing that you mentioned earlier. When you pray, you're speaking to God.
Yeah.
And when you meditate, God's speaking to you. That's where all the divine downloads come through. And if you're just getting started with your meditation journey, literally just take 5 or 10 minutes in the morning. Like, ideally you can get outside, connect to nature, and just focus on your breath.
Yep,
just bring presence and awareness to your inhales and then your exhales, and understand that there's no wrong or bad way to meditate. Like, obviously, if you're scrolling mindlessly while you're trying to meditate, that is not going to be effective. But it's like, don't be overcritical of yourself. Just allow yourself to zoom out and be the observer of whatever is coming through. And again, this is why I'm such a fan of psychedelics and plant medicine, because anytime that I sit with mushrooms or ayahuasca or any other plant medicine, they always remind me to breathe and connect. And they're just a portal to tap into that. And that's why I think they're so necessary, and they go so well with stuff like Joe Dispenza, because not everyone can commit to just dropping into those deep states of awareness through meditation. And it's like psychedelics can be a really powerful tool to assist you in that journey. And yeah, bro, it's just, I'm excited to see that for you. And I'm also curious, you know, if there's someone watching, like a young teenager, like 14, 15-year-old kid watching this right now, and maybe they're going through massive challenges, right? Maybe they are resorting to drugs. Maybe they're growing up in a broken home. What is the message that you say to that person?
Don't be afraid to change. Like, so many people are afraid to change. You know, they're afraid of like what people think about them. Like, don't be afraid to step into that, and like, you can be whatever you want to be. As long as you believe in yourself, like literally anything. That's all it takes. Believe in yourself.
I think there's a lot of young boys who could definitely benefit from your guidance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that's
for sure.
also going to be like some part of your path, not forcing anything, but just allowing things to flow. Maybe and again, I mentioned this to you, maybe we can find something in 2025, like once a week, a place to consistently go to, because yeah, bro. And you have such a calm presence. You know what I'm saying? It's a very peaceful presence just being with you.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm protected because you've been in countless fights, and like, you know, I feel safe in that regard, but also you're just a fucking chill ass dude. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Most people think like I'm like a security guard or something most of the time when I'm somewhere. They're like, are you like the security for like this guy?
Do you think, is there the whole idea of like not being afraid to change, right? Not being afraid to change. You know, when you go into a room or anything like that, or an event, people are jumping to conclusions about you based on the way you look, based on the way you carry yourself, whatever, right? So how do you navigate that in regards to just showing up in an authentic way and maybe not conforming to your old ways of being? Like, we created a couple fun challenges, right?
Yeah.
Like, you told me, you know, every time now that you get in an elevator, rather than just distracting yourself or pretending to be on your phone, you actually start a conversation with the other people.
Yeah. That was like, because that was a big thing for me. Like, just because of how I grew up and how I lived my life for so long, like, I didn't talk to people that I didn't know. Like, and with my friends and, you know, my homeboys that I grew up with, if we would go to the club and if you were with us and you talked to somebody else, like, we would say, all right, no, take your friendly ass over there. Like, you weren't allowed to like be around us. Like, that was like looked down on, like, to be friendly. And like, so it stuck with me for so long. I'm like, I don't want to meet new people, and I didn't trust anybody and everything. But now I get in there and like, I'm saying hello. Sometimes people don't say back to me. They pretend like they're on their phone, like, but at least I'm trying. And a lot of times I get a real positive like reaction from people. They're super surprised. Like, wow, this guy's like saying hi to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy what, again, just like a couple words of affirmation. Everyone's just caught up in their own shit. It's crazy how many people struggle with social anxiety on a daily basis. And what I've learned working with a lot of people who struggle with social anxiety is like, oftentimes it's just a product of you being way too in your head.
Yeah.
And thinking that all of these other people are focused on you and thinking about you and judging you. Bro, listen, understand that a majority of people are just way too focused on their own bullshit to even care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And same thing for like posting content on social media.
Yeah.
It can be very uncomfortable to start expressing more of yourself because it's like, yo, what's that person going to think? At the end of the day, bro, there's no better feeling than just being connected to your most authentic self. Own your shit, own your uniqueness, and understand in that process, you are going to potentially turn off people or trigger people, but you're also going to attract the people that really resonate with your message and energy.
Right.
And that's just a beautiful way to approach life. It's just a really great way to approach life. Like, understanding when you can reverse engineer social anxiety and understand that a majority of people, wherever you are experiencing the same exact thing and they're overthinking shit, then you can actually be that vessel of connection.
Yeah.
And start a conversation.
Yeah.
Smile at a stranger. You know what I'm saying? And that is exactly how we facilitate momentum and elevate the collective consciousness. Mm-hmm. It's just by really being dropped into our hearts rather than our heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that 1000%. And I had the hardest time with like talking on my story and on Instagram for a long time because I didn't want to seem like I was complaining. I'm like, oh man, I didn't really have it that bad. Like my life wasn't that bad. I know people had it a lot worse. Like I don't want people to think I'm just on here complaining about this life or I got shot or want people to feel sorry for me or whatever, or want to like glorify like the bullshit. But if it can help somebody, then why not? You know, it's just me being in my head about it. So now I have been more open and sharing.
Have you missed a day yet or no? You've still been
posting on my story, like talking? No, every day, like I'll say something.
Yeah.
Story, yeah.
That was a challenge. Now that this weekend's gonna come to an end and like the events and the podcast stuff, now we're gonna have more space to cultivate momentum into December with like our one-on-one work. We'll talk about that later. But that was just a challenge I gave you after our first meeting.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, bro, we talked about building your personal brand, getting aligned with the message that you want to put out in the world. And I was like, yo, every single day for this month, you're just going to get on your stories on Instagram and you're just going to speak from the heart. You don't have to be premeditated. You don't have to have it super organized and clear what that message is. Just allow yourself to channel from the heart and see how that resonates with your audience. Because most people, bro, are only posting their highlight reels. So when you actually allow people to see different parts of yourself, that is when you actually create alignment. That's when you actually build connection. So I'm confident you're going to see that as you continue doing it. And let's be honest, bro, most people are insecure and most people have blockages here. Their throat chakra.
Yeah.
They're afraid to speak their truth. So when you actually cultivate the confidence to get on your Instagram story every single day, regardless of how you're feeling, for 60 seconds, you just share something from your heart. That's going to really plant seeds in your subconscious to keep on going, to keep sharing your truth, that your journey and your story matters. So I'm excited to just continue seeing that. Anyone who's listening or watching, feel free to steal that. Like try it out for a week, especially if you're someone that wants to build confidence and build a personal brand and online audience. You know, I did the same thing the last month and a half with my lives, 30 minutes a day. I'm like, I'm going to do a live every day and just riff. And it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun because it always sparks new ideas.
No, I haven't done a live yet, but
oh, that's the next thing. We're going to do a Thaddy live session. Let's get it, babe. Let's go.
Yeah.
That'll be fire. Is there anything, bro, that you feel called that we didn't touch on yet that you feel called to share with the people watching and listening? Like anything from your heart that maybe we didn't cover up until now?
No, we'll just go back to how it's like so important to like, don't be afraid to sit with yourself and to love yourself, most importantly. You know, don't be afraid of those emotions. You don't always have to be a tough guy, you know. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to smile.
Hey.
It's okay to, you know, to live life and to love people and love yourself. Like, really, that's like, be grateful. You have to go through life. I mean, it's such a blessing, bro. I mean, I'm so blessed. My life has always been like such a blessing. I look back now and look at everything and I'm just grateful, bro. Super grateful for everything.
Hey. I'm grateful for you, man. I'm grateful that we've gotten to cultivate a connection the last month and we're just getting started, bro. We're just getting started. It's cool just to see, like I mentioned, even your energy from that first Pups and Chill event to the second one 2 weeks later and just seeing how you're showing up different, right? And it's this constant evolution. And that's what this human experience is about, is just approaching every single day as a new opportunity to evolve, to grow, to step into this limitless potential that we all possess. Mm-hmm. And if we can just continue making that commitment of promising ourselves that I'm going to show up every single day, regardless of how I feel, with the intention of just tapping into more of my potential, sharing my gifts with the world, removing some of the energetic and emotional blockages in just heightening my awareness and vibration, then we're going to create a really special life. So I honor you, bro, for the journey that you've been on up until now. It's crazy that you're only 33 years old. I feel like you've lived like so many different lives already.
For sure.
You know? And it's just cool to just be on that journey with you, man. I'm really excited for 2025 and just to fucking tackle life together and co-create some dope shit.
Absolutely, bro. Me too, man.
Any final words?
Let's get it, man. Time to go create.
Where can people connect with you, Thad, if they want to, you're stepping into a new era as well with your coaching and different things like that. Where is the best place for people to connect and vibe with you?
On IG, Big Thad Fit.
Big Thad Fit. Cool.
Yeah.
We'll link everything in the show notes. And yeah, bro, it's been a blessing just having you in my life the last month, and I'm excited to continue creating momentum into the new year.
Oh yeah, bro. Me too, man.
That's a fucking wrap. Let's go. You did it. You made it to the end of the podcast. I am so proud of you for pursuing this path of becoming the best version of yourself. Now, if this episode provided you value, then all I ask is that you share it with a friend and check out some of our other episodes, because my mission is to really bring you the best people in the world so you can become the most elevated version of yourself. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you next time.